Oscar Piastri had pole position. The fastest car. Total control. But just 7 laps in, McLaren made a call so disastrous, the FIA labeled it strategic sabotage. Now, shocking new data confirms what fans feared. Piastri didn't lose the race. McLaren handed it away. Subscribe now, because what the FIA just uncovered changes everything before the final showdown in Abu Dhabi. Oscar Piastri arrived in Qatar with everything a driver dreams of: pole position, a McLaren MCL 39 that was surgically matched to the circuit, and a title fight within reach. It was not just another race, it was a golden opportunity to shift the momentum of the championship with one dominant performance. The data coming out of Friday and Saturday sessions made it clear McLaren had nailed the setup, and Piastri was executing like a veteran. The speed was there. The confidence was there. The plan was simple: convert pole into a win. From the very first lap, Piastri looked untouchable. He controlled the pace through Losail's high-speed sweepers with surgical precision. His tire temperatures stayed in check. His radio remained calm. The team told him everything was looking perfect, and the lap times confirmed it. Verstappen followed, but never threatened. McLaren had the upper hand in clean air, and Piastri had the rhythm to stretch a lead without overpushing. It was textbook execution. Until the safety car flipped the script. Lap 7. A midfield incident triggered a full-course yellow, and with it, the perfect moment for a strategic pit stop. Red Bull moved immediately. Ferrari and Mercedes reacted within seconds. Their simulations had made it clear, pitting under safety car would bank a massive advantage and eliminate future risk. But McLaren? They hesitated. Piastri stayed out. Norris stayed out. And from that moment, McLaren abandoned control of the race without even realizing it. Piastri, still in the lead behind the safety car, asked a critical question: did Verstappen pit? The confirmation came. Then silence. Then came the second question, one that would haunt the team: are we staying out? The reply was quick, emotionless: yes, stick to Plan A. That phrase, Plan A, is now at the center of the controversy, because post-race data revealed that it was the only plan among the top 5 teams that the FIA flagged as non-viable. Once the race restarted, the advantage swung. Verstappen, now on fresher tires, immediately began closing the gap. McLaren had effectively handed him the undercut without a fight. Piastri's sector times were still sharp, but the tire degradation was irreversible. Lap after lap, the delta widened. By lap 16, Verstappen was in position to take the net lead once Piastri eventually stopped. And when that stop came, the prediction proved true: the McLaren rejoined behind, with no way back. That's where the frustration began to set in. Piastri hadn't made a single mistake. His laps were consistent. His feedback was precise. His car was holding up beautifully in one of the toughest climates of the calendar. And yet, despite all of that, he was suddenly in second place, with no strategy left that could challenge for the win. The frustration wasn't technical. It was tactical. It was human. The race wasn't lost in the cockpit, it was lost on the pit wall. As the final laps ticked down, the scale of the error became painfully clear. Piastri crossed the line in second. A respectable finish on paper. But behind the scenes, the mood was deflated. Because this wasn't a podium earned in combat, it was a victory given away by hesitation. The FIA's later strategy audit only confirmed what millions saw in real time. McLaren had the faster car, the stronger driver, and the better starting position. And they still lost. Not to a faster opponent, but to themselves. When the FIA released the official post-race analysis, it didn't take long to pinpoint where McLaren's Qatar strategy fell apart. Their decision to leave both Piastri and Norris out under the lap 7 safety car went against every major predictive model in play. According to the FIA's strategic evaluation matrix, the optimal pit stop window during that caution period offered a theoretical gain of up to 23 seconds in race time. That figure alone should have sealed the call, but McLaren ignored it. Sector time comparisons between Verstappen and Piastri during laps 8 through 15 revealed an unmistakable pattern. Verstappen, running on fresh hard tires, consistently closed the gap at an average of 6 to 7 tenths per lap. By lap 15, the undercut window was gone. Verstappen had built enough time to pit again and remain ahead, while Piastri was still being told to extend on aging mediums. The pace advantage was no longer in Piastri's hands, it belonged to the strategy that reacted first. The FIA's decision impact chart, included in the internal debrief, confirmed McLaren's loss in cold numbers. McLaren was the only top team to record a negative efficiency score, a measure of strategy decisions versus actual race outcome. Their index was marked -2.3, while Red Bull posted a 1.7. That margin, over the span of 60 laps, translated to a measurable loss of 1 net position, exactly the cost of ignoring the pit window when it was wide open. Tire degradation also played a massive role. According to Pirelli's post-race compound analysis, Piastri's medium set began falling off after lap 14. Thermal maps showed the rear left tire exceeding optimal temperature thresholds for 3 consecutive laps, a warning sign that any further delay in pitting would compromise the second stint entirely. Verstappen, meanwhile, kept all 4 tires within the ideal window thanks to the early stop. The data was black and white. McLaren stretched too far and paid the price. Onboard telemetry gave another layer of proof. Piastri's throttle traces remained smooth throughout his first stint, even as the tires degraded. This wasn't a driver overpushing, it was a driver managing a deteriorating situation. His brake modulation, steering input consistency, and corner exit speeds all pointed to one thing: the car was still compliant. What was failing wasn't the hardware. It was the race plan around it. And the FIA analysis echoed that conclusion with brutal clarity. Even more revealing were the radio communications. Piastri asked 3 times for status updates related to Verstappen's stop, overall strategy position, and possible reaction options. Each time, the answers were delayed, vague, or overly conservative. Stick to Plan A was repeated more than once, but as the FIA data confirmed, Plan A was never viable after lap 7. The choice to stay out was based on outdated assumptions, not live data. And in modern Formula One, that's the difference between leading and losing. In the end, the FIA concluded that McLaren's strategic inaction was incompatible with the available live information at the time. That was the wording used in the summary line. Not a racing mistake. Not a gamble that didn't pay off. A decision that fundamentally ignored the tools available to avoid it. When you combine that with the fact that Piastri executed everything on track flawlessly, the only conclusion left is that McLaren beat themselves, and the data proves it. From the first free practice session, the MCL39 looked like it was made for Lusail. McLaren's aerodynamic philosophy, built around low drag and a highly efficient floor, perfectly matched the circuit's flowing nature. The fast, sweeping corners of sectors 2 and 3 highlighted the car's stability through high-speed transitions. Where others struggled to maintain traction without compromising tire life, Piastri's car simply danced through. Every lap looked smooth, planted, and controlled, an unmistakable sign that the setup was in its optimal window. McLaren's technical team had refined the car's rake and rear suspension geometry ahead of Qatar. This allowed for better platform stability through the mid-corner phase and excellent traction on exit. In practical terms, that meant Piastri could carry more speed into corners like turn 6 and still get on the throttle early without losing rear grip. Onboard showed virtually no correction through the steering wheel, just clean, confident direction changes, a trait rarely seen with such consistency at Lusail. One of the most impressive elements of McLaren's dominance came in tire management. Qatar is brutal on rubber, high track temperatures, long lateral load zones, and an abrasive surface. But Piastri's medium compound stint remained strong deep into lap 14. According to the FIA's post-race tire load metrics, his rear tires stayed within the green temperature zone for 87% of the stint, the highest efficiency score of any driver in the top 5. This gave him a strong cushion to push later into the race, had the strategy been sound. Piastri's throttle and brake telemetry confirmed what fans could see with the naked eye. This wasn't a case of raw pace overpowering the car, it was controlled aggression. His inputs were smooth, his braking was precise, and his throttle applications out of turn 10 and turn 13 were nearly identical lap after lap. That repeatability under pressure showed just how at home Piastri was with the MCL39. The car was talking to him, and he was responding in perfect rhythm. Even more telling was McLaren's data during clean air laps. Between laps 2 and 6, before the safety car, Piastri had built a consistent 0.3 advantage per lap over Verstappen. On lap 5 alone, he gained over 0.280 seconds in Sector 2, where the Red Bull struggled to rotate mid-corner without losing rear-end grip. That meant McLaren wasn't just holding the lead, they were extending it, and in all the critical places where overtaking wasn't possible. Control was total. Strategically, this was McLaren's race to dictate. Their simulations had shown that with a lead at lap 10 and stable tire wear, they could force Red Bull to attack too early or overcommit on strategy. Verstappen's only real play was an undercut, which McLaren could have blocked by mirroring the stop during the safety car. But when they stayed out, they sacrificed the one thing their entire plan was built on: control. After that, the advantage was gone, and it never came back. What made the situation even more painful for fans was knowing that the car had no weaknesses that day. There was no lack of pace, no tire mismanagement, no setup error. The hardware was ready. The driver was flawless. Everything that could be controlled inside the car was executed to perfection. It was the pit wall, not the chassis, not the aero, not the driver that blinked. And in a sport like Formula 1, when you have the fastest car and you still lose, the only place left to look is the strategy room.